Okay, traders, welcome in. In this video, we are going to get into how I, as a non-technical person, have been able to develop computer mechanical trading systems, back-tested, algorithmic systems that work. So let's go ahead and get into it. And this isn't a pitch of me selling you a course or a system, although you might like to check out my system. We'll talk about that later. I'm making this video because I've had a couple people asking, how do you create trading systems? So I'm going to walk you through it, although I'll tell you, my story is not normal. My story is pretty unique, but I think you're still going to be able to get things from this. So before I get into my background, I have been able to develop extremely robust trading systems that have great historical backtesting. And I'm going to explain later what that means to be robust. But it was developed in the summer. And despite having this awesome trading system, I didn't follow it. And instead of making a lot of money, actually lost money. So having a trading system doesn't solve everything. Why didn't I follow it? I don't know, low-key mental illness, trading addiction, or just, and I mean, it came off to me as like being impatient, not having other things going on. Now I have more things going on, it's easier to follow, but the goal is to remove myself as the manual trader and plug in the algorithm and have the algo trade it for me, which is the next step, which is the goal for 2025. I prefer to not place any trades in 2025 and just let the trading systems work. Okay, now let's get into my background a little bit. So, some of y'all know I was a professional Magic the Gathering player. I was professional in that I was at times one of the top ranked tournament players on some of the top teams in tournament scoring. I had great finishes. I was also a content producer, streamer. My first successful business was coaching in the space, a paid group. And the game of Magic the Gathering is two games. The first game is developing your strategy, and which is building your deck, right? And the second game is you sit down and you play with the deck that you have, right? So I was very good at that first part of the game where I'm developing a strategy. I'm paying attention to what everyone else is doing and developing a strategy that's going to give me a good chance against everyone, and then practicing and then coming in and executing for one weekend. I didn't play it perfect though, man. I can tell you so many times I made stupid, dumb errors. So if I could teach a computer to have played Magic for me, I would have been absolutely stoked. That said, you come into trading is similar, where there's two games in trading. The first trading is what is your system, and the second is executing that system, right? And so many people, because of the gambling component, the dopamine component, which isn't really, there's not a lot of not gambling, there's no excitement in system development. It's all in trading. So people come into trading with no system and just start trading, putting on trades. Trading with no system, no edge, it's gambling. And you can even come in with the profitable system or computer back-tested system, and you come in and you start to gamble just because of the slide of dopamine. So, I mean, for me, all things point to trying to remove the trader from trading. So I came into trading with some kind of a skill set, right? And I didn't have the betting component from poker. My background is in this other game. But I came in thinking, okay, I need develop systems. I'm good at developing systems. I know how to develop systems. That said, I don't have the computer skills. I took computer science in college. I kind of set it down. It just wasn't for me. It's too tedious. So I was doing a lot of things manually at first. Now, as I was developing systems, I was sharing them in certain paid groups that I was paying for, and I was sharing them also on social media. And as I was doing this, there was one guy, his name's Matthew Edwards, Third Millennium on Discord, who saw what I was doing, liked it, and he went ahead and he hired a dev to program my system. And this happened in 2021, and this was my first system. And I wish I had paid more attention to it then, but I deviated from the system, got into different forms of gambling, and was like sampling. I mean, part of it was also sampling other things, developing other strategies. I just dropped this strategy. It was too slow for me, too boring, and again, I didn't have enough going on in my life. But the key thing is this connection with this guy who developed a dev to or hired on a dev and coded my system. Now, at the same time, or several years later, actually, let's skip several years later to the start of 2024. No, that happened in 2020. I met Matthew Edwards in 2022 online. So 2 years later, 2024. Also on Twitter, like I've tried with different algo traders, nothing's ever worked, but I'm connected with a kid or a young quant named Alex Hire. Now, I think he's the real Alexander on Twitter or something like that. And he's running Forex systems, and I'm like, with bots, like plug me in, manage some capital for me. Spoiler alert, we're gonna come back to this, but I lost a bunch of money, like a lot of money. I don't blame him. It was a learning process. I was kind of reckless, and he's kind of new, but it is, just impatience. That's a common problem that I've had. I should have just let it run for 6 months to kind of confirm, but we are where we are now. Anyways, this year I started working on other systems, and Matthew Edwards with the dev is having them developed. And here's the really cool thing, and here's what I learned. You can have in PineScript, you can code your system, and you can put it as an indicator in TradingView, and it can give you a historical backtest. And that historical backtest you can use to verify results. Now people say, oh, you can't use TradingView because you can't trust that. Well, in TradingView, actually, you can go in and you can look at the individual trades. And as long as you confirm that this system is taking the trades and the trades are what you expect, you can confirm that TradingView works. So TradingView has been an important platform for me in developing trading systems. Now, here's what's been very important, and this was the key, is not saying, hey, and I got to give credit to Matthew and the dev for this. It wasn't like, hey, can you make the system exactly this? It was like putting on a lot of different options, knobs, and toggles. So for instance, the stop loss is totally adjustable. I can put it to 0.5 daily volatility, ATR, average true range, or I can put it to 10. The breakout, I could have a threshold. It needs to be at least X days, but not more than Y days, right? So I can set it to what happens if the breakout's only 5 days old? What if the breakout's 100 days old, right? How far the TP is, how to trail the stop loss, conditions of a breakout. Does the candle need to close? How many days does it need to close? What happens if the candle closes back under, or for a dip buy? How old is that low need to? So the point is, we were able to develop the indicator where there's all kinds of different toggles and optionality. So once this platform is developed, I could go into TradingView and play with the different numbers and see what's better, this stop loss or this stop loss, what's better, this breakout condition or that breakout condition. And essentially, I was able to backtest more in, say, 10 hours than in thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of in-person charting. And it's just so, reason is just so, it was just so fast. It's immediately giving me feedback over all the price history and saying this worked better than this. So we're able to eliminate. Now, we talk about robustness. One of the things that I learned from the failed Forex trading algorithm is that it's really important. Ideally, your trading system should work across assets on a number of assets. There is an exception when you're using asset-specific data, like trading crypto perpetual futures data, which doesn't exist on other assets. But The problem with the Forex bots is it looked uncorrelated, inversely correlated, like took a bunch of different strategies, but they didn't work across strategies. They didn't work across pairs. The Yen USD strategy only worked for Yen USD. The Euro USD strategy only worked for Euro USD. What that meant is a much greater probability that everything that had happened was just chance. And the sample size was only 100. It was only looking back 10 years anyways. So we decided, okay, the problem is this is just noise. We need more robust. It needs to work across all assets. So instead of optimizing your trading system, you want your trading system to work generally well on almost every asset. So for instance, with this platform that I have, this indicator with all these different toggles and knobs, I can optimize it for Bitcoin and get the best possible return for Bitcoin. Or I could optimize it for the NASDAQ and get the best possible return for NASDAQ. Or I can optimize it for gold and get the best possible return for gold. But what's safer to do is to create a general setting that works well for Bitcoin, ETH, gold, NASDAQ, silver, S&P 500, Dow Jones, right? So doing that, I was able to get general settings, general parameters, and say, hey, this outperformed the Dow Jones over the past 70 years. Hey, this outperformed gold over the past 100 years. Hey, this outperformed silver over the past 70 years. Wow, this outperformed NASDAQ over the past 40 years. Hey, this outperformed buy and hold Bitcoin over the past 12 years, right? And it's like the same settings. I'm not jumping between settings, right? So again, why have I not used this? Just totally mental problems, not having enough going on. But the goal is to have it running algorithmically. Yes. So that is what robustness is. Okay. So now we go from having a system, okay, to actually running it algorithmically. So this, you could either hire someone, or my preference is to have a business partner. So a proposition like Quant, hey, you manage my money. If the equity is at a high watermark at the end of the month, you can withdraw 10 to 20% of the profit. I keep 80 to 90%, right? Essentially set up a prop firm. That's one way to do it. But if you have a simple algorithmic system, why not have it set up to run algorithm? I mean, if you've got a computer backtested system, I constantly underperform my system, right? And going back to Magic tournaments, underperform, you get foggy, or there's like a stress, there's a new bill, you got home late, you overslept, but your system calls you to log in and do something. It's just really hard as a human to do it perfect, right? There's mistakes that come in. And once you have the, like, as far as the actual functionality, you can get a crypto exchange and get API plugin, and then have someone have access to running a virtual machine, have it all programmed, and then have it run. You could also, do this on a futures exchange or whatever asset you want. Again, I don't know how to do it technically, but I'm good with people, and I know how to incentivize them, and I know I can either hire them or pitch them a profit split. So that's what I've chose to do, and that's how I've developed my system. Now, if you want to take a look at my system, there's a link to it down below, and there's a demo on it. It works awesome. I mean, maybe you're better than me at trading it. Like, it's for sale. You can learn on it. I'm not set up to manage people's money algorithmically or want to do that anytime soon. Maybe that happens later. But, I mean, maybe you have less emotional problems than me and you have an easier time trading it. It's closer to investing. I mean, I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's long only on... Yeah, I guess this is another important point that I missed. So I hope you're still watching this. For the system itself, when developing a system, you want to develop fundamental ideas. The fundamental ideas are more likely to continue to work. So the fundamental idea that the main system is based on is that over time, fiat currency depreciates because they print more, and the harder assets appreciate. So you're long only on gold, silver, Bitcoin, U.S. stock market indices, right? So it's long only. and you're either long or you're longer. I had certain fundamental ideas about when to buy a dip, wait for reclaim, possibly certain ideas about when to buy a breakout, wait for close, certain fundamental ideas about filtering out a downtrending market, getting out when price is under 200 moving average, for instance, or at least not having new signals. And so fundamental ideas also make it more likely to work and also to understand. And and then really wide stops, the pyramiding of positions, holding long. No TP, that surprised me. I thought having a TP might help, but for this system, no TP. You get stopped out eventually. You trail your stop at a long distance, or you advance it at key points on the chart. So anyways, appreciate y'all. Go check it out. And that's how I develop trading systems. And I'm going to spend more on this because, again, this has become my focus. I'm focusing on the marine tours, my hiking tours, and YouTube. I'm really enjoying YouTube. Even if I quit manual trading, I don't see myself quitting YouTube. I really like what YouTube asks of me, where trading asks me to be emotionally restrained and robotic, which I'm not. YouTube asks me to be expressive and emotional, which I am, right? It pays me for the things that manual trading punishes me for. And trading, I'm behind a screen, it doesn't really matter, but for YouTube, I'm paid to be ripped and shredded and fit and healthy. I'm paid to be a good storyteller. I'm paid to have strong vocal tone, to be musical, to be able to sing, right? Be an entertainer, have stage presence. I like what YouTube is asking of me, who it's asking me to be. I don't like who trading asks me to be like robotic and repressed. No, I want it to be okay to be euphoric, I want it to be okay to be scared and anxious, but it's not okay in trading. It's not. So, I'm not done with trading, but that's the game plan for me. So, hope you find it useful. Appreciate y'all. And again, there's a link down below if you want to check out the system. I'm going to be releasing some demos on it soon and spending more time on that. Maybe a weekly thing. Okay, appreciate y'all. Much love. Peace.